I grew up thinking all trans people just knew they were trans. I'd hear things like, I was in the wrong body, I knew something was up as soon as I was born, or I was always a feminine guy. Today, I want to share a bit of my own story and talk about the people who don't empathize with that typical narrative. The people who spent their lives thinking everyone felt and thought the things they did, and didn't see the words written between the lines of their behaviors and feelings. Those who wrote off their discomfort with performing the gender roles prescribed to them as their own personal failures. I came out to my wife on November 21st, 2021. And to myself, about 30 seconds before that. I had spent the day consumed by a thought, one that had surfaced again and again throughout my life, only to fade just as quickly. Am I trans? But this time, it wasn't going away. Surrendering to that reality was one of the most difficult things I've done in my life. So much runs through your mind in that moment. What will my partner think? What will happen with work? What about my friends and family? It's an acceptance that'll change the course of your life forever. And that's terrifying. And it's no wonder it can take people a lifetime. I'm hesitant to use the word decision to describe that moment. It's something that frequently gets weaponized against trans people with phrases like, oh, you can't just decide to be a woman. If so, I could just decide to be a stick insect. Those phrases, unfortunately, can really stick in a lot of people's minds, and they ignore a key aspect of transition. That at its core, it isn't a decision at all. It's an acceptance of a truth. Like a dam holding back a river. Pursuing a transition for many is to knock down the dam, allowing their truth to flow unimpeded. For some, that's a slow process of nature returning, allowing the breaks to crack, break, and be washed away. For others, it's a wrecking ball. It's wild the reasons we can come up with to explain away our feelings. As a kid, I rationalized my desire to at least try out being a girl as being fueled by my anxiety around missing out on every aspect of life. Funnily, I was kind of onto something. Thinking now, I don't think I'd have ever lived a life I was content with had I not transitioned. Years into my transition now, I often find myself thinking, were there any signs? From my perspective, I was a cis guy. Full stop. A cis guy who liked girls. I couldn't possibly be trans. You can't be gay and trans, right? Right? Looking back now, I've managed to pick out some moments of significance. For one, I'd go back and forth in character creation screens on the different body types. It wasn't the clear-cut decision it was for so many of my friends. I kept my hair long, not for any reason I could put my finger on, other than it just felt right. I had this strange aversion to catching female Pokemon. All my teams back then were always entirely male. Still unpacking that one. I'd watch trans YouTubers talk about their journeys and experiences because I was just interested in the topic and wanted to learn how to be a better ally. As I went through puberty, I mourned the loss of my high-pitched voice without ever realizing why. I'd often ask my wife to do my makeup as a joke. I fully believe there's a hint of truth in every joke. My struggles with OCD started in my early teens, something that grew to greatly control my life. I wonder now if subconsciously it was a desperate attempt to take control of something in my life as my body began to change beyond it. Spectacularly, none of these things set off alarm bells in my head at the time. They were to me as normal as anything else I did. I didn't think I was an overtly feminine boy at the time, but I knew I didn't exude peak masculine energy, at least in the traditional sense. A common thing people say to me now is that I had fairly feminine mannerisms, with a lot of them suspecting I was gay. That was pretty wild to find out. Outside of that, I struggled to fit in, and when I did, it was usually with the outcasts. As I grew older, be it in romantic, professional, or countless other contexts, I struggled to find comfort in performing that traditional male role. I always just saw it as the way things were, my role to fill, the awkward one, like it was how life was supposed to feel. I can see now how devastating a lack of self-confidence and being comfortable in your own skin can be in so many aspects of your life, even when you don't know it at the time. I would have even described myself as confident and content back then, but I see now I had no idea what it truly meant to be either of those things. If you come away from this video with any message, let it be this: there is no right way to be trans. Doubt and delay don't make you any less valid. The truest thing you can do for yourself is be the person you want to be, no matter what form that takes. If that means not fitting neatly into a Western colonial binary, that's okay. There is so much more to gender and life than the neat boxes of man and woman. If assigning a label to yourself gives you the comfort and confidence to explore, then that's great too. If you want to play a character in a game that people might not expect you to, do it. And don't feel like you need to manufacture logic to justify it. I want to end this by reading part of a letter I wrote to my future self when I was 12 years old. There's some fairly dated and problematic phrasing in it, but at the time, I was just a kid, fumbling toward identity with the language I had at the time. Hi, me. So you're 21. Well, you have been for a while. Some of the things you aspire to do when you're older are to lengthen the human lifespan. Upload yourself to a computer so you can always live. And you're thinking about changing gender because life is too short and you want to see what it's like on the other side. Only do this if your wife or girlfriend doesn't mind, and of course, he'll change back after, so you better keep your money. Leave for now. Yours sincerely, you.